Hello my friends and welcome back to another Brotato Danger 5 Paws and Claws run. Hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to be playing the Mage, because this character just wants lots of ways to set enemies on fire using the scared sausage that you start with, and the addition of the pets gives us a bunch more ways to do just that. I'm going to use the weapon that I think is the strongest on the Mage, the Taser, because this scales with elemental damage, so it benefits from our extra modifier, and slowing enemies will give us more time to set them on fire as well. In the last couple patches also, elemental builds have gotten some pretty significant buffs, so playing the Mage is also just really fun to check out how those work. The first of them is that Will-O-Wisp exists, so that's an easy way to get lots of elemental damage. And the second of these buffs is that they changed the timing for when Scared Sausage works, so when you set an enemy on fire. And it now will set an enemy on fire even if with the attack that procs it. So even if it kills the enemy, Snake will still set an adjacent enemy on fire. Even if you kill the enemy in one shot, it will still proc Will-O-Wisp and things like that. So that's a pretty significant timing buff for the Mage as well. Defective steroids, I'm going to go ahead and just ban. We definitely want high attack speed. We can't build melee damage on this character, so we're just going to remove that from the pool. But charcoal I'll leave in because it provides elemental damage. I'm not going to lock it, though, because I'm looking for more powerful items early on. Broken Mouth is good enough to lock, though. That's just a really strong defensive item for a character that can kind of struggle to get lots of good defensive items. We'll also take a second Snake. You usually don't need more than 2 of these, but I do like 2 of them. And then I'm going to roll and pick up a third Taser. Getting to 15 harvesting at the start is pretty nice. Obviously, we'd have preferred more, but when you're using a support weapon, if you can get your support weapon tag online as quickly as possible, you're going to benefit the most from the extra materials that gives you. Grab that tree kill as well. Tragically, no box from that. Maybe this one? Nice. And then we did manage to make 61 materials at the start here, which is really good. Spicy sauce will definitely take. 12 materials for 3 HP is obviously a great deal. And the explosions can also set enemies on fire. That's not going to be a significant part of our plan, but it's still pretty reasonable. We'll take 5 harvesting, and then I've rolled a few times, so I'm just going to pick up 5 luck here. It's, of course, an economy stat, so we want to grab that early. And then hopefully we can buy 2 more tasers and lock a third taser. And we'll get our support weapon tag fully online by the end of Wave 3. If we'd gotten a little luckier rolling tasers, we could potentially have 6 this wave, but that would have required us, I think, pretty much to roll 1 on every single reroll and never miss. And for a weapon with multiple weapon tags, that's fairly unlikely, so 5 with a 6th locked is pretty much where we want to be. Let's reroll here, and we'll take 5 more harvesting. I'd like to just boost my harvesting over 40 for this character, because the Mage really wants the extra economy stats so that we can stay ahead of the wave. We're strong early because Scared Sausage will be really good at wave clear, but you can fall behind later on this character if you don't really spike your economy, so we're going to focus on doing that. I'll ban Claw Tree here, we'll lock Mushroom for some extra regeneration, and then we'll do another reroll, and Taser and Broken Mouth are both great finds as well. I'm not going to worry about the Alien Tongue currently. Yes, pickup radius can be useful on the Mage because you do leave a lot of materials on the ground, thanks to fire being the primary way that you kill enemies. But I typically am going to prefer Baby Gecko for material pickup, or obviously Sif's Relic if we get that. Run over here and try to get the Curse Alien on fire, then we'll mostly paralyze the loot alien with our tasers. One of the great things about tasers is, although they're a fairly low damage weapon, they're very good at killing enemies like that. Scope, I'm just going to ban here. It's purely negative for this character. We will take the turret. This is a great way to proc fire. With the Mage, one of your main challenges is trying to set enemies on fire as far away from you as possible so they have the longest amount of time to burn before they can actually hurt you. So you want effects like turrets and landmines and pets that can splash damage around. I'll take 8 more harvesting here. We'll get a little greedy. And then I'm going to reroll looking for a level 2 upgrade, and 2 elemental damage is perfect. Upgrading Taser is really nice. So it reduces the damage scaling. I think this is the only weapon where that's the case, but you get a second projectile. So it really goes from 80% damage scaling to 140%, even though the on-paper number has decreased. So Taser scales really well as you add additional elemental damage. I'll take an Alien Worm here. Losing Consumable Heal is always very painful, but it gets me a free reroll, which is pretty nice. And then let's buy the Bone Dice, lock the Mushroom, and then reroll again. And we'll take Plant and Cyclops Worm. Although Taser is a ranged weapon, it attacks pretty slowly, and this character will often be killing things far away from itself, so I typically prefer Regeneration to Lifesteal when using Taser as our weapon. So that's why I'm focusing on that, even though we're using a ranged weapon. Taser is also very short-ranged, so although it's technically a ranged weapon, you can really think of it more like a melee weapon, and it'll give you a better feel for how it actually plays out in practice. Trying to set these large groups of enemies on fire, and we did manage to do that. I could take 9 dodge here. When you get an early high-level dodge upgrade, it's a good incentive to go into dodge, but I think I'm going to roll. There's just stuff we want more. All right, we're going to go maximum greed this run because we keep getting good harvesting offerings. I won't take the level 1 harvesting, though. Yeah, let's take 9 max HP. That's perfect. We'll buy all of these and then do a reroll, and I'll take another plant. Since we have negative lifesteal, I'm just going to go ahead and ban the fresh meat. I want to do some more bans. I'm going to use my bans early so that we can start finding more valuable items. In particular, we want to ban level 1 items so we can find Scared Sausage and Snake. And then also, obviously, turrets and landmines. Those are great ways to apply fire. And then also, of course, rats, which are newly added and very powerful for the mage as well. A second Scared Sausage would make it so much more consistent for enemies to be on fire for us. Currently, we're having trouble with that just because it's not proccing on every shot. Only 25% of shots means that we're much more likely to kill enemies before it actually triggers at all. I think my max HP is actually pretty good, so I'm just going to take 10 luck here. And then we'll pick up the Scar, we'll take the Taser. Percentage damage is quite good. Losing attack speed on this character is bad, though. But I think I'll take the Little Frog, we'll keep building some more greed. And then I do really want to boost my percent damage, but I want the free reroll more, so I'm just going to ban Missile, because it's kind of a marginal item anyways. We'll take Corrupted Shard here and then do a reroll. We'll buy a coupon and lock a helmet, and so we've got another couple of good items locked. So currently we obviously haven't seen any pets, but it's totally fine to just be a normal mage. Obviously, Mage is still a pretty strong character overall with tasers. And pets are more of a supplemental strategy for this character than something that we're really focusing on building around. This is not the Beastmaster where you need to roll into a bunch of pets early or you can't win. Okay, so I could take... For regeneration, I could take 12% damage. Percent damage is pretty important. My move speed is also quite bad. I've got an elite as... Oh, yeah, we have only elites as our boss waves here. Let's reroll, though, because I really wanted elemental damage. Maybe I should have taken armor, though. We have no armor. And then here, I'm just going to take 8% damage just to keep boosting our damage output. We'll pick up the cursed padding. That's great. Any cursed items like that are very high value. And the spyglass is nice because we get a free reroll right away, so it has some value there. We are going to be a fairly high economy run because we've built 80 harvesting already. And 10 extra range is actually totally fine on tasers. This is a weapon that benefits from range because it's a ranged weapon, so you get the full effect. In Brotato, range changes the range of ranged weapons by the number that you have, but melee weapons by only half of the number. So it has half effect on melee weapons. Even though this is a very short-range ranged weapon, it benefits from the full values of range stats. So you actually get a lot of value by buying range on this weapon. Well, a lot, relative to range's normal values, which are not great. I don't know that we really want the baby elephant. I think that that's just not going to be the way that this character is going to play out. So we'll go ahead and ban that, and then we'll lock these other good items just to boost our stats a little bit more. Having the laser turret, of course, gives us another way to set enemies on fire from far away. What I really need, though, is another scared sausage. Mage has extra likelihood of rolling scared sausage as well. So the fact that we haven't seen one is somewhat unlikely at this point, and that's what we really need in order to power up the character, is just to make it more likely that we set enemies on fire. So I'm looking for armor, I'm looking for move speed, and of course I'm looking for scared sausage. Those are the items that we're really looking for. A pocket factory would be really nice as well. That would help us set enemies on fire more aggressively. I could take 9 HP here, but I really don't need it. I'm gonna reroll and reroll again. And I think I will just take the 8% damage. Just trying to boost my overall damage output. Incendiary turret is not very good for this character because we will usually be overwriting the incendiary turret fire with our own fire. So I'm going to buy blood donation. We have the regeneration to support it, and we're getting pretty greedy on this character, and we'll buy lemonade. I could ban incendiary turret. Let's just go ahead and do that just to use our last ban here. I could also have saved the ban for a free reroll potentially later on. But I think just getting another item that we don't ever want out of the pool was pretty good there. We're still in the first half of the run, so now we've used all our bans, and our shop is a little bit better. The impact of bans in a 20-wave run is not that high, of course. There's a lot of items, and you're only removing a small number from the pool. But every little bit helps when it comes to improving your shop. I think it can be easy to just look at the raw numbers and think, okay, well, it only removes 8 of the several hundred items in the game from the pool, so it doesn't really impact your shops. But remember that in this game, you're only buying the best items. So when you remove some worse items, it has a disproportionate impact compared to the percentage of items that you remove on the items that you actually end up buying. We'll take the move speed there, and then I'll pick up 4 more regeneration. I have blood donation, so I really need to build regeneration, and then we'll buy some elemental damage. Unfortunately, crystal doesn't really do anything for us, but I will take the cursed rip and tear. We don't care about losing crit chance at all. 24 damage, even though we can't easily increase this because we can't buy melee damage on the mage, is relevant to our damage across the map strategy, so it's, I think, pretty good. Eye surgery, of course, one of the best items we could find. We'll take a clockwork wasp as well, and then I'm going to reroll again. We're not going to crit, so piercing shots are good for the taser, especially on the mage, where it's actually, you just want to hit an enemy to proc the scared sausage more than you care about the damage of the actual attack, but we don't really want to build crit chance on this character. So we're still doing a reasonable job of keeping the wave clear. There's definitely some more health on the field than we really want to see at this point, though. And this, again, is because we've only found the one scared sausage, so we're starting to kind of struggle to keep these larger groups of enemies all burning. Because, obviously, like, one will absorb the shot. Maybe we get the 25% chance, but the likelihood of hitting enough times to keep enemies on fire isn't that high. I'm going to keep taking elemental damage. On the mage, you buy it at an increased rate, so it's just really good to buy it. We'll take the Cyclops Worm, and then we'll roll. Okay, well, Particle Accelerator, this is a great item for this character. It's an automatic burning effect that doesn't rely on us hitting the Scared Sausage proc. So it's just going to be really solid. And then we'll roll. We'll take a baby gecko. Lost Duck I don't want to buy because it does decrease our luck, but Metal Plate's going to be really good going into the boss wave. And the thing about Mage, too, is that if you can use 5 tasers and a wand to set enemies on fire if you don't find extra scared sausages, and you'll usually find a wand. Or, of course, you could hold out for Particle Accelerator or Flamethrower. You can also even use a torch. Just anything to spread fire once you get into the second half of the run is really important. And for this character, we happen to get the best one, the Particle Accelerator, but it doesn't have to be this item to make the character as strong as possible. I could try moving, so I'm lining up my Particle Accelerator to hit more enemies at once. I don't think that type of movement is that important, and it takes a lot of focus, so I think it's better to just focus on moving normally. We'll definitely take the extra XP gain. And then I really need armor, so I'm going to roll here and look for a point of armor. Missed a bunch, so I'll take some attack speed. We do get a metal plate and a helmet, I guess, so we had some armor locked. I'll take the spyglass, another clockwork wasp, and we have +1 consumable heal currently, so I'll lock the garden. Okay, well, we got a loot worm. Loot worm's really nice for this character, because it can help us pick up materials. 10 attack speed for -6 damage. The ranged damage obviously doesn't do anything. Is an okay trade-off, but I think not worth 130 materials, so we'll pass on that. Immediately starting the fight by having our Particle Accelerator set the elite on fire is really nice. On this elite, you can remain motionless, but that's a little harder on the mage, and it will never hit you. It's a little harder on the mage because your damage is dealt somewhat randomly rather than specifically to enemies that are close to you. So as you saw there, we had a little trouble with the other, with the group of clams, the other enemies that were shooting us. But we've managed to put together enough defensive stats that that's not that big a deal. And we killed the boss fairly quickly. One thing that I really like in the more recent Brotato patches is that they've made it so that elemental and engineering builds have a much more realistic chance of killing elites and bosses. It used to be that it was possible, but often fairly difficult, and now you're just much more likely to have that happen. I'll take the extra stomach. We do have blood donation, so we're taking damage over time. It won't always proc the extra stomach. But at the end of a wave, we should usually be at full health, and we should get at least some max HP, and it was very cheap, so it's worth picking up there. Here, I'm going to reroll, and then we'll just take some more elemental damage, and then some more percentage damage. We'll buy all of these items. That's great. Okay, here's our rat. We can start setting enemies on fire. I think we can get away with the peacock as well. And Ugly Tooth, Taser, and the the item that we just bought, Snail, all stack very well and are really good for the mage, especially because we just want to keep enemies far away from us while they burn out. So slowing enemy movement speed is actually very strong on this character. So you can see our rats over there just setting things on fire. It's not always going to work, because again, we only have the one scared sausage, but it's really nice that it has that extra damage, and what I want to do is stay on kind of the opposite side of the map from where it is, in order to make sure that it's setting things on fire that we aren't. Trying to kill this Hatcher here. We have Lumberjack shirt, so it would be really nice to get Pocket Factory. Okay, so I'll take the eye patch when it shows up for 33 in a box, because piercing projectiles are still good. Obviously 1% crit chance is not going to trigger that often, but if we get a little more incidental crit chance, it can be fine. I was rolling here for armor, so glad that we rolled into armor, and then we'll roll again and take 15 luck, and then 15 attack speed. Here, we don't want to buy saltwater. It reduces our elemental damage, so we're going to pass on that. Another particle accelerator is a really nice find, so we're definitely taking that. And I'll buy the power generator. Currently, it's not very good, of course, but we do want some more move speed, so I will pick it up. Baby with a Beard, I will also buy. Yes, it hurts my range, which is pretty bad on these two weapons, both of which benefit from range a lot. But this is another great way to set enemies across the map on fire. Anytime something dies, it's going to spread the fire even further. So very helpful to have items like that, even though we're not going to be able to build ranged damage on the Mage. Our damage output against the boss is really good. We took it down very quickly. We can also get these two loot alien kills, which is awesome. The loot worm's gonna run over there and kill the tree. Oh, it looks like they've maybe fixed it so the loot worm works with Lumberjack shirt. For a while it wasn't. It was still having to do its full, like, chewing animation, even when you had Lumberjack shirt. But it looked like it one-tapped the tree there. Whoops, I killed that tree, so I didn't get to see if that was true or not, because I was going to watch the loot alien. Also, we got the loot worm. We also got 4 loot alien drops that wave. Potato, of course, great for this character. These are all stats that we want. I'll take the pumpkin. We do have the eye patch, and sharp bullet is an item that I would buy. I think I still just want the compass, though. Increasing our movement speed just really matters a lot. We'll take charcoal. We'll recycle white flag. Honestly, pretty bad item drops there. And then I'll take 9 movement speed. We have power generator locked, so that's also a bunch of extra damage. Black belt, at this point, I think I'm going to pass on. Let's lock the Pocket Factory, Particle Accelerator, and another Taser. Great items here. And we can swap to all particle accelerators by the end of the game, maybe. We really just have like a mascot this run on a normal Mage run, more than this being a pets run. The baby with a beard does decrease the range of our tasers a lot, but that's okay. We can still obviously kill things, and we're mostly about spreading out the fire as well. The tasers are now, at this point in the run here, more for just to defend ourselves with the attacks against adjacent enemies. While everything else that we have on the map does the actual killing by setting it on fire at further range. I could just take 80 range here to offset our range penalty, but I think we really still just want to roll for... I mean, 5 armor is so absurdly good. You just can't pass that. I'm going to buy the other items, and because we got Fishhook, we'll leave the Particle Accelerator locked, because that can potentially give us a cursed one. Bandana I will lock as well. Piercing shots are still pretty good for us, and then we'll roll a couple more times. Because I have the Fishhook, I wanted to lock 4 items, so I just spent a little extra money re-rolling there. Pocket Factory, of course, another great way to deal damage around the map or to set enemies on fire around the map. Just lots of attacks, and all of those attacks can proc Scared Sausage. This is still a run where a second Scared Sausage would have gone a long way towards making us more powerful. Obviously, we're plenty powerful. We don't need any particular items. But if we had gotten an extra Scared Sausage earlier, then a lot of the synergy items that we're buying would have ended up stronger. It's not worth specifically rolling for it on the Mage, because there's so many good items that you can buy, but it is an item that helps you out a lot. Here, I'm just going to re-roll a couple more times, and re-roll again. Oh, nice. 5 elemental damage. That's amazing. Let's go ahead and upgrade our weapons here. Obviously, our Fishhook did nothing. Then I will roll. I'll lock the Cauldron, and we'll roll again, and we'll lock an Eye Surgery. And let's see if Fishhook can help us out this time with a pity bonus. If I get a level 4 range upgrade that's not on level 25, I'll probably pick it. On level 25, we just wanted to use our guaranteed level 4 upgrade on a more valuable stat. But I wouldn't hate increasing my range. Particle Accelerator and Taser both benefit from that quite a bit. So if we get a really efficient range offering, I'll probably take it. Or if we get the... I can never remember if it's shackles or handcuffs that comes with 80 range, but the one of those that does. Yeah, we'll take some more armor. We'll take 20% more attack speed. That's obviously amazing. Of course, the item we least cared about getting cursed got cursed, but that's fine. And then we'll roll here. Even cursed, I'm not taking Candle, decreasing the number of enemies. Okay, it's shackles that applies the extra range. And we'll definitely take that. I don't care about capping my move speed. I do want the range, but obviously the 4 engineering, we're the Mage, so we buy engineering at half rate. And the 8 regen are the real prizes here. We'll take Toxic Sludge. I don't need Stone Skin. We have plenty of maximum health, and I'll do a couple more rerolls. Take another Bonk Dog, Taser, and Retrimation's Hoodie. We have negative dodge, so unfortunately doesn't do anything for us. Bonk Dog, another way to apply fire, of course. And it scales with our percent damage, which we have a fair amount of, so even though we can't buy melee damage to scale it normally, it's still going to do a decent amount of extra damage just with its actual attacks. Killed the elite very quickly there, which of course is great. I like that we've just got this pet rat that's just running around. Oh no, I saw the loot alien too late. I could have killed it. A second med kit? That's so much regeneration. Of course, we'll take that. And then we'll pick up 16% damage. We did get a cursed taser, so that's pretty nice. I'll buy both of these. Do I want the glass cannon? I don't think so. I'm going to roll for more exciting stuff. Let's just roll a few times. At this point, I'm really just focusing on finding fun items. Okay, a cursed mirror I'll definitely take, and then we'll roll again. Clockwork Wasp is pretty good, but let's do another couple rerolls and just see if we get anything really exciting when we're going into the boss fight. I'm curious how much damage the Rip and Tear has done. We'll check that at the end of the run, of course. It does seem to be occasionally hitting these groups of enemies. And Rip and Tear explosions can proc Scared Sausage. So it's another way to spread fire across these enemy groups. I don't think that's happening that frequently, probably, because if the enemy's dying, it was probably on fire already, in which case the snakes would have already spread fire to the whole group. But it is an interesting synergy, especially if we had gotten some explosion size or something. Take some more attack speed. Okay, so here I will buy the Cursed Mirror, reducing item price. I'm gonna sell out of the level 3 taser. I think the level 2 cursed one is better. And we'll buy the particle accelerator. Do I want double baby with a beard? I feel like there's stuff I can double that's more exciting. Pile of books. We do get the discount and keep our cursed mirror. So the way that cursed mirror works is if you buy a unique item, it doesn't break. So you get to, or a weapon, it doesn't break. So you get to keep the minus 20% price after buying those items. But I think I'm going to reroll because I'm really looking for something fun that I can duplicate. Ice Cube is pretty fun, though. I'll buy that, and then I guess we'll just take a double laser turret and just get all sorts of stuff across the map here. Didn't find, like, the most exciting duplicated items, but we have 4 particle accelerators, which is really fun. And all of our laser turrets just sitting there constantly attacking is kind of funny as well. Against the bosses as the mage, your goal is simply to stay away from them and make sure that they're always on fire. We could try to accelerate the kill by attacking them with our tasers, but more important is just to make sure that we're not taking damage from them, which means we can play at long distance and just let the fire take them out. Assuming that you've gotten a decent amount of elemental damage at this point, you should have a pretty good chance of just killing them very quickly. And there we go. We did so without any risk at all to ourselves. All right, so taking a look at our items here, we've got 92k damage from the Scared Sausage, 1,000 from Spicy Sauce, but it's mostly to apply burning. Similarly, 10k from Structure, but mostly from our turrets, but they're mostly to apply burning. 18k from the triple laser turret, that's not bad. 500 savings on Spyglass. This was a very high economy run, so Spyglass ended up being very good. Rip and Tear only dealt 12k, but that's actually not bad. That's it's more than the Pocket Factory and turrets did for just this one cursed Rip and Tear. It also, of course, gave us 4 curse and potentially set some things on fire. Double eye surgery is very nice, obviously. The loot worm gave us 123 materials. We got 60 HP from the extra stomach, so remember what I was saying about how it's totally fine to take extra stomach when you have blood donation or damage over time items, because you'll just pick up the consumables at the end of the wave when you're full health anyways. You can see that happened. We got 60 health from it. Our rat dealt 10k, but again, mostly set things on fire, and our barnacle was worth 7 levels, 1.7k damage from the baby with a beard, and the bonk dog actually dealt 2,500 damage, even though it only scales with melee damage, which is kind of fun, and it also, of course, helped set things on fire. Alright, my friends, I hope that you've enjoyed this mage run, and I hope you enjoyed burning things down with particle accelerators and our pet rat along for the ride. As always, of course, if you've enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a comment and hit like, helps me out with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more Brotato and other strategy game analysis. Cheers, folks. I'll catch you next time.